Welcome back, guys, to the Berwick Podcast Show with me, Sean Scullion, aka The Handsome Stranger, Owen Mallon, aka The Bear, Aidan, the face for radio behind the scenes, and today we're joined with Richard and Anthony from PSI Ireland. Welcome, guys.
Thanks very much for coming up.
Thanks for inviting us.
Thanks for having us.
He's had a track up the road, so I appreciate you coming up.
But we'll explain what PSI Ireland actually stands for everybody that's listening and watching. So PSI Ireland is
Paranormal Supernatural Investigations Ireland.
This is going to be good.
I'm excited. And I have to be completely honest at the offset, and we said this. So when we'd seen you guys and we were messaging you, me and Sean were like, paranormal, where are we? Do we believe in paranormal or not? Sean's very, very clear that he not, but
I try to look at things and be logically, right, keys jingling, what is it, how did it come about, whatever else. But then I was asked, would you do a Ouija board? And I was like, not a chance.
So there's obviously
we wouldn't agree with doing that.
Yeah.
We wouldn't even do that ourselves.
Yeah.
But I mean, there obviously must be a part of Sean then that this is what I said. There's a part of you then obviously is a fear of what could happen, because if you were so set in your way and said
you'd have no bother.
None of that, you'd have no bar. It's just a board with a thing. But we'll move into different. But I just wanted to say that at the start. But we're not closed, guys. We're definitely not closed off, and we're looking forward to asking you and questioning you and just to hear other people's views. The beauty of this podcast is we get to talk to guys like you or from everyone from different walks of life that we wouldn't normally be in or normally, get to ask questions. So we'll probably ask about 50,000 questions here because we are genuinely interested. And
we have 100,000 answers.
Yes.
You just have to pick out the correct one.
I suppose the simplest one we need to go till is the start, guys. How did it all come about?
What, the actual paranormal team?
Or
where do we get there?
Before even that,
right.
how did it come about for you guys?
Well, for my own self, it all started from, I can remember back as 5 years old. I had an experience, and as an experience, I'm 44 years old, and I still remember it like it was only last week. And it started, like I said, my first experience, paranormal experience, was at 5 years old. And I was getting these experiences up until the age of nearly early 20s. And, like, it can't be...
But what? So sorry to be just like real... What experiences?
Well...
What's the first thing you remember?
Yeah, first thing I remember is... I still clearly as day remember talking to my great-grandfather. Out of the blue, I said to him, would you ever come back and visit me, Granda, if you ever died? And I even now, looking back, sure, I have a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old daughter, and she wouldn't even ask me that, or I can't vision her asking that question, but I look at myself and her that age. So for some reason, I said that anyway, and he said, of course I'd come back and visit you. And funny enough, he went to hospital, had an operation in Altnagelvin Hospital in Derry, and he apparently the surgeon that done the operation on him was an alcoholic. We only found that out after the inquest, and he had snipped an artery, and it was only a normal procedure he was going for. He bled out on the table. He died. And then I had this experience, as I said, I don't know, it was a week after he died, where I woke up out of a sleep, woke up, looked at the side of my bed, and there was this green silhouette. And I say green, it's like a sort of an luminous green, and it's a green that you can't even come up with yourself. It's a very rare energy green, I should say. And it was this outline of a figure. And I just put my head under the blanket, and I remember sleeping with a blanket over my head and breathing in my hot air, and that's how fear I was. So I'll put that down to maybe that was just a bad experience. So next morning I told my grandmother at the time, because my grandmother was there too, and I told her, I said, I told her what I'd seen. She said, you're dreaming. It's all in your head. You're dreaming. So this thing again, cut a long story short, same experience happened the second night. So there's no way this is a dream. The same outline of a person. And I say this person was quite big because he was in a sitting position, and you could see the head and the shoulders and the silhouette. And this is pitch black, but this is green. So again, I told my grandma, again, it's all in my head. It's a dream. I want to go jump forward with this specific experience. I was 14 years old in the same bedroom. I woke up again. It seems to be waking up out of a sleep, and I see this green silhouette. This time, this green silhouette at 14 was standing at the bottom of my bed, and I mean, from up the head was nearly the height of the ceiling. I got out of my bed, and at 14, I jumped on my bed and I ran straight. Obviously, I must have had to run through it, because I'll never forget my mother saying that means she must have run through whatever was there. But I mean, from 5 years old to 14 years old, I seen the same figure. I mean, and I seen it 2 nights in a row when I was 5 years old, one after the other, and I seen the same at 14. And in that same house, our kitchen, our toilet, where it used to be located, was through the kitchen. You had to go through the kitchen. And I always remember that this time, looking up at the time, it was about 7 or 8 years old this time, and the clock was saying about 3:20, or it was around that time. I'll never forget, because I was walking out the toilet to go to the loo, and out of nowhere, everyone's in bed. I got this impact in the back of my head, and a spoon fell to the ground. Someone had thrown a spoon at me in the head. So I know that wasn't from a physical person, because it was dead of the night. It was quiet. I literally ran up my bed and jumped into my bed, and whatever I had to do, I didn't have to do it until later on, I should say, because the fear went up through my body. And in the same house again, I'm 16, I'm sitting, and I still remember that this night, it was a Sunday night, and the Antiques Roadshow was on, and Heartbeat was on, and I was 16 years old. And I remember literally in the living room, and the 2 switches in the living room just went, and the lights were going off and on, 2 lights, and it took me about 2 seconds to realise what was actually happening. Nobody's in the house, but here's these switches, lights. Not even the lights are going off, no, the switches are going off too. I literally got up and I ran out. It was still daylight too, because it was spring night, and I remember Heartbeat and Antique Show and all that program still to that day, because anything you haven't experienced like that, you'll remember nearly down to the smallest detail what you were doing that time. So that's where I'm saying there has to be something that's doing. That's not just.
I'd have moved out of that fucking house. I'd have scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, but and then, do you know, believe it or not, my uncle, who's there too, you said one night he was sitting he was 11 years older than me, my uncle. He's sitting in that house, and he said he was sitting watching TV one night, and for some reason something caught a track in his eye. It was like something looking in at the window at him, and it was a face that wasn't human. That's what he said, looking in directly in the window. And he was, as I said, I was 11, he'd been 20, in his early 20s. He ran up there, he scared the crap out of him too. So there's something there, something around that house. But the house itself, got to remember, it's a couple of 100 years old too. And that's where we're going to talk about residual energy, we believe too, in the house. I don't know, I'm 50-50 whether or not that green image that I seen was my grandfather. Is it coincidence? I don't know either. So I can't be sure it was my grandfather, because there was no face. It was just an outline of a body.
I'm going to ask you a wee bit about that in a minute, but just while we're still here, Anthony, had you shared similar experiences when you were younger, or was yours later in life? Or?
Well, I was more like every young guy, young kid at a young age. I grew up in the era of Hammer horror, So I was nuts into horror, Dracula, Frankenstein, the Wolfman. So all my life, I had an infatuation with horror movies. And as I got older, then I started asking questions. What's all this about? Like, what's all these big movies been made about ghosts and people being brought back from the dead and vampires sucking the blood out of people? And so when I joined this group, I was the total skeptic. And I was classed as the skeptic. I was brought in as the skeptic. I came in on the grounds that I was a graphics designer, and I designed the logo and the badges and the whole lot, So I started doing that. Then I got asked to come out in an investigation out to the Battle of Aughrim. And the first night I was out there, I captured some stuff on the phone, which made me think. Stuff that I wouldn't normally see on photographs that I would take. But because I was out looking to capture a ghost or an entity, I was getting some images that were very questionable when I started studying the photographs. So then I said, geez, there might be something in this. So when are you going out again, guys, And, you can come out. And the next time I started capturing more stuff. Then I captured an image in Castle Ellen house up in the attic. Mm-hmm. And when I captured that, then that had me totally and utterly on board. My skepticisms was gone out the funyog, out the window.
For
gone.
The people listening, we are definitely including this picture in the video. what was in the picture?
I have the picture on my phone here if you'd like to see
Oh,
it.
100%.
And Owen and Sean, you want to believe? We may as well tell these guys. We've been coming up with a conclusion who we believe it could be.
We had it wrong.
Where do you hear this?
We had it wrong in the beginning. Now this hasn't hit the papers or hit anything.
Well,
else.
that
So
first picture has.
this first picture has, but what we're going to do next hasn't. So this is a preview for you lads.
Okay.
So
I'm freaked out here. Look at Jess over in the corner. She's hiding. She couldn't get any further away.
And tell me, just while you're going through your phone then, so can I ask a silly question? How is a ghost created? Like, how, why does everybody that...
Well, I'll tell you what led up to it. We went into this castle because the owner of the castle, Peter Lambert, he had died and there was a ghost story attached to him. He died in Tuam and his house was in Athenry. So the maids were inside cleaning the house, and the next thing they saw the master walking up the driveway. So basically, the master's come and put on the fires, cook the dinner, make the beds. They did all that, and they waited for the knock on the door. No knock on the door. So they were looking around. He might be out in the sheds, or he might be here, whatever. Eventually, some hours later, a telegram arrived saying that he had died in Tuam, and that his body was on his way to Galway in a cart. So the cart and the horse came to the gates of the castle, and the horses would not pass the gate of the castle. So they had to take the coffin out of the cart, carry it the whole length of the driveway up into the house.
Was it half a mile?
About a half a mile. But the thing is that several hours prior to that, he was seen walking up the driveway. So all the maids and the staff said, how can that be? We just saw him. So we said, that could have been a ghost or something, They witnessed an energy or a ghostly image that they couldn't actually clarify. So we got all our gear together, headed to Castle Ellen.
We had a psychic with us.
We had a psychic with us that night, and we had a team of investigators. There was 6 or 7 of us in it that night, So we arrived in the castle, and as we were going upstairs, up to the attic, our K2s were going off, showing crazy energies. And the psychic said, there's something up in the attic. I'm getting something in the attic.
Yeah.
And the K2 was flying up into red. And I said, okay, I'm going up here to take a couple of pictures. So I went up my own into the attic, a bit kind of apprehensive. I won't say scared because, I wasn't really a believer of anything. I got the phone and I started taking pictures around the attic. Bang, 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 bang. Came back down the stairs and went through them. And the next thing, bang, right there in front of everybody.
Could see it.
Clear as day.
Oh, fuck, I want to see it.
We had caught this guy in the dark, looking out, staring at us with the most horrendous. So we immediately thought, oh, that's Peter Lambert. We got him, Peter Lambert. And it hit all the newspapers all over the place. But because we're investigators, we investigated further and further. And we only found this out about 4 months ago, Richard, was it?
4 months.
About 4 months ago, we found out it wasn't Peter Lambert we caught. Because the more we were looking at the photograph, it didn't look like Peter Lambert. But then we found the guy, which was totally and utterly amazing. We found the guy who it is. It's actually him. And when I show you these pictures now, it's going to be very, very hard to deny that it's this guy. You'll see the resemblance when I show you now. So
I'm a bit freaked out here.
So this is the image we caught. Now I put it into black and white for the purposes of.
You can't deny that.
Right, that's.
Hey, but what have you zoomed this in?
I zoomed that in.
Well, we have the original too.
I have the original one.
Yeah.
Right.
I can show you the original one after this.
Yeah.
But that's. Do you see the face there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Like a beard. And
Yeah, so here he is anyway.
Who do you think that is?
I don't know.
So I'll just show you.
Now remember, it doesn't have to have a.
It doesn't have to have an exact resemblance.
We're looking at the
Because
measurements of the eyes and nose.
It's energy manifesting itself.
It's never
to
going
us.
to be 100%.
So it's never going to be exactly like. But if you can see the resemblance of the nose, the forehead.
Jaw.
See,
Well, who is that?
well, I'll show you now. who he is.
You still don't know him?
Who is that? But
I'll let you tell, Anthony. I don't.
Right, so this sketch, this drawing, looks more like that now. So we've come to the conclusion, a person that spent an awful lot of time in that house.
Was he born in that house, Anthony?
I think he might have been born in the house. Was a guy called Edward Carson, and he was the founder of Home Rule in this country, and he was also a member of the Orange Organisation, but he since left that, and I think he set up the UVF as well. But he was coming down to Southern Ireland, staying in that house, and I can't remember exactly where he died, but we believe that that's him that we've captured.
Great friends with Oscar Wilde too, wasn't he?
And he was great friends with Oscar Wilde.
And right, so
So when I caught that picture,
do you guys want to see? Yeah, I come on over and see.
On over easy.
It's never going to be 100%, as we say, because it's energy manifesting.
This is like I ain't getting an idea. Well, right.
Did Jess see it? What do you think, Jess? Doesn't it look, see, we're looking at nose and we're looking at the forehead, and it's so we explained
the image that we're going to get is not going to be.
It cannot be. It will never be the same.
It'll never be the same.
That person's gone.
As
Tell me then. So a few questions from that. First and foremost, why the fuck would you go up in that on your own? But not that anyway. If I was like, somebody goes, there's something up there, I ain't going up there on my own. I'm bringing everybody up. But anyway, you. Obviously, then you've researched the house, you've researched the soda, and you've seen that picture, and you're like, okay, right, actually, we've got this wrong, because it was the natural presumption then was that this is.
It didn't look anything like Peter Lambert.
Yeah.
So then, when we started looking to the other inhabitants of the house, the closest we could get is him.
Do I know it's going to sound a stupid question?
Not at all.
Do they always look like they would have? If a ghost come back, would it look like how?
Well, a lot of them
be similar, or
they try to manifest themselves as what they were before. And as I said, you got to remember, they have to use energy to try to manifest themselves. It depends on how strong that they are as an energy. I mean, we notice when we bring our equipment out in investigations, our batteries. I mean, we have to bring numerous amount of batteries.
Sean.
Just now that you're on that, so the BBC done a series or whatever they were doing anyway. They were recording in Crumlin Road Jail.
Yeah.
And the tunnel that takes you from Crumlin Road Jail over to the courthouse.
Yeah, across the road. Yeah.
Across the road, underneath the road. The guys had went down with their batteries, with the camera equipment and everything.
Yeah.
They were fully charged before they came down. And they went down in, went to start recording. Batteries dead.
Yeah.
Went back
regularly.
up, changed them out, put them back in, went down again,
Died
dead again.
Yeah.
Now, the guys that were down there that night that we were staying in Crumlin Road Jail, they were telling us a story.
I genuinely thought when Phelim said that to you, he was taking the piss, and I did.
No.
So he goes,
that's serious. That's
your batteries. You just make sure you have plenty of batteries. And I was like, what's he talking about?
Yeah.
So he said this here, and I jokingly turned around and goes, what, would the women drain them too? But we were joking, we were all there in a group.
Yeah, having the
And he
crack,
goes, you'll see here now, the batteries don't last in here.
They don't.
They get drained. And I passed no remarks, and Sean come back over to me, he says that ghosts are draining them batteries. Just after telling me there the batteries were half day here, and I asked him why. I genuinely thought he was going to say cold or something. The fucking ghost sucked the life out of it. Like a woman. Even so, all the guys started freaking out a wee bit, and they all wanted to congregate together in the middle on the floor. And I was like to Sean, I can't be bothered listening to this, lad. Me and you're going to go and get a cell off to the side here, and we'll go in. And your man goes, "He's boys going over there." He says, "Jesus, I wouldn't be going down there. These are the ones that work there." He goes, "I wouldn't be going down there. I know we've went sideways off this, but it's in the relation." I was like, "Why?" And he's like, "That wing there seen the most trouble over whatever it was, but it was way off from where everyone was at. They were all in the middle in the centre." And me and him just went in the cell, and they were like, "That's how much at the time." We didn't think anything of anything. Mm-hmm. And I was like, the only thing that's going to haunt down here is me later on when you hear me snoring. But they did say about the batteries. But we're going to move on to the kit. But just back to there. So this, then you've obviously captured that photo and you've looked at that and we're like, and I'd like to see the original photo, the
Yeah,
way
sure,
it
yeah.
all presented. Then you've captured that, and you're like, shit, right? This is and you were talking about the equipment, so I have so many questions. I was thinking, right, what's a K2? What's going off? What's the energy readings? What is this? So we're going to look at some of the kit in a minute. But then, do you when you see that? Do you just go back up there? What do you do? What was the thought process when you just come down? You're looking at it and you're like, do you be like, jackpot? So that is jackpot.
Well, Owen, I'm going to be
jackpot. Yeah.
It was a jackpot, and I'm going to be honest again. What we tend to do is we find is 99% of the actual evidence that we do capture in our investigations is actually through our analysing the days after our investigation. Anthony, I have to put my hat off to Anthony. He has the patience. They do it there, which is good too, because it backs up, supports us more.
Yeah.
He will go through, analyse footage there and then that night, and that's when not many times we can get footage there and then. Like, for example, Lackeen Castle, only recently in Inchigeal Island, I myself caught something there and then that night. It's great when you get something there, when you have people that's out with you too, and they know, wow, this actually happened there and then. Like, with an image of like it looks like a druid that's coming out from the old church that used to be an old pagan island, and we believe that these are portal stones where this, and we've done it on summer solstice night, so we've done it where the strongest point of the year for energy. So it's good to get these images there and then that night to show people, look what we got. And Anthony got that there and then that night, as Anthony said, as a jackpot, absolute jackpot when you got.
But what have you when you arrived at that castle? Have you a set way you go about what you're going to do? So if you've had obviously some people may have reported, and there's well-known places or that there's the sightings and going back. But
do you know when we say if you have a dog and he's sitting in the room and he's looking over in the corner like that, and you're looking at him, what's he looking at? Or a cat, and they're looking at you and they're going, kind of, do you not see what I'm looking at? Animals, we believe, their mind isn't polluted by the material world that we're in, where we feel and touch things. They see things for what they are. So when we look at something with our eyes, we're not actually really seeing what's around us. And these phones, we go out with a fishing net of phones, maybe several phones, and we're all taking maybe 100 shots a night.
Full spectrum cameras.
Full spectrum cameras, all of that kind of stuff. And it's just like fishing. One rod, you might catch something, but if you have a net, you have a better chance of catching something. And out of several hundred photographs, you might capture an image like that, trying to manifest itself, trying to make itself known to you. Can they see me? Hence, that's why the batteries drain. They're draining energy to come through from what we call in the paranormal business the invisible world to get into this world so that we can see them. And that's why mediums have better ability of seeing stuff than we do. They're more in tune with their lives and their feelings and that kind of thing. I mean, everybody has a sixth sense. Everyone can sense stuff, but we pass it off as
children, we're told, like I said, look at me at 5 years old, I was told I was dreaming. We're all born with that sense, but we're told to shut it off, or you're looked at as being mad, or you're it's just not real. It's just in your head. It's imagination.
it's a similar thing. And when we were speaking to Glenn about having a more awareness and a more spiritual awareness, but I'm more intrigued then what happens in these investigations. So when you're there and there's a group of you there, and with the castle, so not straight away you know that you've actually captured what you wanted. You know that's what I didn't realize. I thought you see it, a picture, but no, and I don't mean that to sound stupid, as in, oh, I've seen that, I'm taking a picture. You're taking a picture, and the energy might only manifest in later when you're looking back at that, and you're saying that the majority of the times is you've only realised that you've captured something when you leave. So
it's not really kind of like that. You see, as Richard was probably going to say there, and I cut in across him, is that sorry, Richard.
No, sure.
When we get into places, myself and Richard spotted this. We were the first in the group to spot this. The energy is palpable in it. You can feel it. You can sense it. And after maybe 40 minutes, it dissipates.
Yeah.
Okay, so we kind of copped on a bit, and we said, setting up all this massive array of equipment,
Which we did.
for a long time, wasn't working because whatever energies were there got spooked and just cleared off. And we'd sit down and I'd look at Richard and Richard would look at me and we'd go, are you feeling anything? No. Because you get a feeling, the more investigations you do, the more houses and castles you go into, you get everybody gets the feeling, oh, this place is scary or it's creepy.
Charge.
You can feel the charge in the place. And after a while then with the presence of people and electromagnetic fields, telephones, batteries and everything, it dissipates. And there probably are the entities that are there, the energies that are there do drain battery power, because this thing with the batteries is serious. You go in there with a full pack of charged batteries, emptied in 10 minutes, gone. So whatever is there is sapping that energy for whatever use it needs it for, maybe to manifest, to make itself known to you. But the human eye, as I said, we've brainwashed ourselves out of that seeing ability. And the analogy that I was giving is that if you look at a baby in a cot, it's playing with something. And the adult comes over and he goes, goochie, 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 woo, and gives them a poke and a rub and shakes them, lifts them up and bounces them around. And that child, that baby, is obviously interacting with something that it sees. But then we interact, we move in to that space, and we're the tangible world. So if you look at cots nowadays, they have a mobile on the top of it, and the kid is playing with the mobile to keep them occupied. But years ago, when I was growing up, there was no mobiles. You just were at that. And I saw my young sisters at it as well. So we have a bit of a belief that babies at that age are like dogs and cats. We're fully open to seeing everything. But slowly through life, we brainwash ourselves out of that ability, and some people, like mediums, can hold on to it longer. So we can't see what's in front of us. But the phones and the machinery that we have help us.
Like a third eye.
Like a third eye.
Mm-hmm.
So we get a feeling there's something happening over there. Take pictures. And generally it shows up. Or quick, come over here with the SLS, point it over here, and that'll pick up an energy. And you'll see it as a stick man form on the SLS. And then we have the Phasmatron GD2000, which is a highly sensitive electromagnetic field reader. And we use that to give us a general idea of where to concentrate our investigation on. And we'll show you all that in a minute.
Because you just threw a lot of names at me there, and I was like, and some of it is like, so there's equipment to measure energy then that you can see on. So if you've that feeling, that sixth sense that there's something, and then you're like, you obviously have in your head to get that, to get the
equipment out.
The equipment out. Maybe we should look and then get an idea of.
Oh, and I just wanted to say there is like a process to these investigations. So like you said, it's their first initial feeling is our own feelings. Number two is the equipment. Like a camera and the Phasmatron, the SLS. What we do, we call it like a step process. So basically, this all we're doing, we're not guaranteed. They're tools. They're there to help us. And as I said, they're backing us up more and supporting. No, it's not just we just bring a camera and go, oh, we got something. It's about our own initial feeling. It's about using the SLS. It's about using the Phasmatron and using the camera. So every little bit of equipment has backed us up on what this end image was. So it's kind of looks a lot more better for us, and it looks, it looks like it's not just a flash in a pan, if that makes sense, what we capture.
Even the name of it, the Phasmatron.
The Phasmatron.
It sounds...
Phasmatron GD2000. And here, that was made specifically for us only, from a physics engineer. No one in the world has that. That was actually designed for us from a physics engineer who Anthony knows very well. He has a very strong interest in the paranormal, but because of what he does, some people can't be seen being related to using supporting paranormal. That makes sense.
And how did you land on Phasmatron then? Because you just got to name it.
Yeah, I made it up.
Good man. Because it sounds awesome.
Yeah, the GD2000.
Let's get a look at the Phasmatron. Let's have a look at it.
I would like to say that the Phasmatron actually got us an image that was up in Duckett's Grove on County Carlow back in January, and it's that actually activated, and we got a picture of someone who you can clear as day see looking at the window.
Can we turn this on now?
Oh, you can switch the box there, the little switch there, isn't it? Yeah. So that's it. Yeah, is it? There you go. That's it.
What's this doing?
So that acts like more like a receiver, isn't it, Anthony?
No, the last time we put this on, it knocked out a whole filling station.
And I'm being serious. We had Harry McKean from News Talk. Do you know Harry McKean? No?
Oh.
News Talk FM. He wanted to do an interview with us, and we brought that out. And the actual power station, Athlone.
I'm like, don't shine this at me.
So, want to explain what it does?
Fuck. That's right. It's took out a whole podcast studio. Right. So we have the equipment. Some of you may be listening to this. So just to describe, there is the receiver unit that's here, which I actually love, Phasmatron GD2000. And then I think this is handheld. It's got a handle.
Yeah.
So this sits in one area.
Yeah, we put
Are these communicating with each other?
only when you turn this on.
Only when you turn it on.
Yes. And what is this doing then? In a nutshell, maybe more layman's terms.
Is a very highly tuned electromagnetic field reader. So
Okay.
you walk around the room with it like this, and you scan it, and if it picks up energies, because it's emitting, I'm not quite sure what it does, because it was designed by an engineer. He just said, I designed this for you. Push that button. If there's any energies there, this will pick them up like a satellite dish
And
transfer the information here, and this then will start flashing and beeping.
This mainly will go off if it has a high concentration. The alarm sounds off, and that's where it gives you an area where
so
you need to bring
you're pointing in the right direction. And this goes off.
Yeah.
Correct.
And
what we do then is concentrate our investigation in that area.
This is the alarm where Aidan and Jess tuck tail and go. Once it starts beeping, they're gone.
That's it.
So that then alerted you to, where did you say you were?
Duckett's Grove in County
Duckett's Grove,
Carlow back in January, and we had
I want to just turn this off so we're not wasting your battery.
perfect. We had 8 members of the public who joined us that night. We were given permission from Carlow County Council to do an investigation at Duckett's Grove. And
What's Duckett's Grove? Just so, where is it a castle or is it
it's an old,
ruins?
it's like a folly castle. It's a
Right, okay.
ruin, big mansion, I should say. But it's been derelict now for years. It was burnt down back in 1920. But it's a huge building, and there's a lot of stories around Duckett's Grove. I mean, we on 1, 2, 3. We've captured every time we've done an investigation. We've done about 5 investigations there, and we've always captured something, either from a voice phenomenon, EVP on a voice recorder, not an app. We don't use apps, proper from a voice recorder, and from imagery. And our latest one was in January, where we had the Phasmatron, and this had activated just outside the front of the building. Everyone took pictures up at the window, and you can actually see as clear as day a head looking out the window. Again, that's on our webpage, our website, and
I did see that.
Yeah.
And that I was looking at that. It's still hard for me to get my head completely around this, but I like the structure in what you're doing. You know, that it's not just we're just winging this and we're trying to find this. And I don't mean that. And I'm trying to say so that people are here, even if you're like me and you're a skeptic.
We're not like the guys in the telly now.
we're not the guys in telly. Sorry.
But what I mean, but what I'm saying is there's a structure to what you're doing, and obviously then there's people saying to you, and you like Ireland's steeped in history. Like we have the oldest recorded history in Europe.
Correct.
So it's not like you're going to be stuck for places.
That's exactly.
I could tell 30 places within a 10-mile radius here that is steeped in history, and people have, I don't know whether you remember this, Sean, but in Brackenville outside Clyland, there was a sighting of an older woman, and then for 3 weeks solid, you couldn't move on that road in the evening. And it was on the news, and you couldn't move because people were driving up and down looking. Like,
we have to come up.
There's
just when you're on that, so give me your top 5 places that you've either been to already or you'd love to go to.
Our top 5 places definitely that we've been to is definitely Duckett's Grove, Clononey Castle, Kennedy Castle. Now, that was amazing. What do you think about one, Anthony? Kennedy?
Yeah,
Look, while
Kennedy
we're on about these locations, sorry, Anthony, while we're on about these locations in Ireland, we do find there's a lot of hype around certain locations, and we feel that, you know, it's all commercialised, but we tend to do, that's why we always tend to veer to the places that are not very much known. Do you know if that makes sense? Like Colononi Castle in County Offaly. Where Leap Castle, we got a good one on Leap. Now, Leap Castle, you know, everyone knows Leap Castle, Leap Castle.
See, I do. I'm hearing some of these because we're up here, not as much. And the thing about this is, if you're local in anywhere, there's always the whispers of local places, the older places, you know, and not so much the younger generation, because they don't even talk to each other anymore. They just, unless it's been posted. But the older generation who would have said, aye, and you know, such and such passed away, and they would know, and the story would have been told to the children, that had been told to the children, so that information wasn't lost. You know, people would know who they assume that they've met, and they would know and say that he died, he was a horse hand or whatever, he was there, and he died there when they was singing, and that's, people would be passing that down. Things like this get lost now. Because
but that's getting back to folklore, and that's one of the ethics. What we say, we focus on mythology, folklore, history, and paranormal. Like folklore was,
they're all combined. They're
all combined. We got to remember there was no technology back hundreds and hundreds of years ago. People only pure, like you said, but stories, had experiences. We could talk about fairies. You know, when we say fairies now to the younger generation, anyone today, they would typically, everyone thinks of Tinkerbell. You know, fairy, Tinkerbell. But like, we had to remember, people hundreds and hundreds of years ago had experiences, and the only way they could express these sightings or these experiences, I should say, was by drawing or writing down what they had seen and solved, you know. So it's sort of like, you know, where we are today, we're miles and miles ahead. We're absolutely lucky to have the equipment today. And I still think we're in an era where we're still not even scratching the surface yet of what we have to even get near this, we call it the spirit world, you know.
This randomly come into my head, Sean, just as you're saying fairies and all. If you go out the road, out towards Arbomurta, the road steps out. Do you know the wee tree?
Oh yeah, they would knock it down.
Why didn't they just chop that out?
The hawthorn tree.
That's a fairy tree.
It's a fairy tree.
Yeah.
I think that's what he mean, a fairy tree. He goes, you cut that down, you won't be about.
Yeah.
And no man will cut it. They moved the road. The road kinks round to go around it.
Yeah, that's true.
That happens a lot.
And I was like, it's weird, right? Because I wouldn't go and chop that tree down.
No.
So I'm saying to you,
I'm
saying to you that I don't believe in things, but I ain't out there with a chainsaw, like.
We're all superstitious.
Aye, and I think very much an Irish thing is that superstition is, we're well aware, we've Celtic folklore, we've grown up with, you know, it's funny because quite a religious island, and the religion's telling you one thing, and then history and folklore is completely, you know, the opposite, where we are steeped, like. You go to America or somewhere like that, you wouldn't have anything within the 10 miles that you have here. You beg more stone circles. They're older than the pyramids.
Well, it's
the oldest recorded history in Europe.
Well, as I said now, what we were trying to say there too about the history and folklore. Look at Eddie Lenihan. Do you know Eddie Lenihan, Ireland's greatest storyteller?
Yeah, I sorry, now you're saying that. What was this?
He made was it the M6, Anthony? What's the motorway? The motorway going down.
Yeah, the move.
They actually moved a motorway. He fought for that. You know about moving the road. He made a motorway being directed around a fairy tree. And as he said himself, like you said, you wouldn't go and cut a tree down. As he said, it's easy nowadays. Back hundreds of years ago, people had to physically get a tool and cut the tree down. So you're having a personal dealing with that tree. Nowadays, they have machinery, so you don't have any sort of personal feeling towards it anymore, and that's why people can feel they do it. But back then, even now, if you drive around the countryside, you'll see that one fairy tree sitting in a field, or you see a fairy fort, which is clearly it remains. It's a burial site. At the end of the day, fairy forts are, you know,
the superstition of, we'd say, walking under a ladder or opening an umbrella in a house or breaking a mirror, the pinch of salt over the shoulder. That's very strong in everybody. But yet at the same time, a lot of those people won't believe that there is something else. But what we can say to you is that if you're ever in a dark, lonely place and you get the feeling that there's somebody watching you, there definitely is something watching you. I can tell you that now.
You say that with such a chill in your voice. I actually, Jessica's over there pulling the hurry up over.
I love hearing the stories though.
Aye.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm engrossed in them. Whatever you're telling
What did
them.
you tell me this morning?
What about?
So Sean's father would be
Oh, my granda.
very spiritual.
My granda.
Yes.
He was working over in England.
But I thought he was joking me. But what do you
So my granda, he was working over in England, and he went to this house or whatever it is. He was looking digs for the night. So he knocked the door. This woman come to the door anyway, and he says, I'm looking somewhere to stay for a few nights. And the woman, she comes and she says, that's no problem, you can stay here, but there's only one room left and you don't have to pay for it. There's meant to be a ghost in it. You can stay, no problem at all. Stay the night, no bother, but you don't have to pay. There's a ghost in the room. He says, you're Catholic though, aren't you? You sound like you're Irish. I was like, aye, you don't believe in ghosts anyway. No, I don't believe in ghosts. Come on ahead on in. So when he went up the stairs into the room, and as he was just about to nod off, he felt this push in the mattress, and then he heard this, there's nobody here but me and you. And he was feeling around like this here, and the next thing, he was like, what the fuck was that there? Next thing, there's nobody here but me and you. Next thing, he was feeling around, grabbed the shoe, and he says, tell you what, if I can find another shoe, you'll be here by yourself.
But I actually thought he was telling me his joke, but this was a genuine.
That's a true story.
Because he's quite his granddad's quite a character. But it more so in the younger generation, they don't have belief in anything. They don't believe in religion. They don't have, morals is nearly loose now. So it's more the older generation that you would hear these stories from.
Or people who've had experiences, though. And that's another thing we've noticed. Yeah. You have to have a personal experience. And then when you have that experience, you know there is something. Like, I seen a post the other day. I don't know if you've seen it floating around Facebook. And it made me laugh when I read it. And I sent it to Anthony, because we've always had this discussion, what I'm going to tell you now, guys. But, like, someone put a post up, said that he was out camping in an island. Bigfoot came along and opened up his colour box and sat down and opened up a beer and talked to him and spoke to him and said, do you know what? No one's going to believe you. And supped away in a can of beer. So I said to Anthony, that's like us, something. If we had an interview with, even if we were guaranteed an interview with a spirit, or even as I say, a ghost or spirit, people still wouldn't believe us.
Say it was CGI.
See it with CGI, or
we captured a lot of it now.
It's hard. And as technology evolves too, it's actually hard too. To get that fine. They make people know that this is genuine.
Yeah.
Well, then tell me this. After a period of time, when you start understanding what they are, does the fear go out of it? Is there an evilness? Is this, some would say that this is the devil at work? Is there...
That's a hard one.
But is there a case where you're like, now I'm aware this is energy, it's not going to hurt me, and you're confident, and you want to be exposed? Or is there different levels? Like
there's different levels.
Yeah, there's different.
There's hard. There's
because you got hit by a spoon, and I don't mean that, but I mean that's like a physical interaction.
You can walk into a place or an area which would be known to have energies in it. It might be on a ley line or something, or there could be an old fort there. Usually we find in the most active places, you're going back to old ley lines and Neolithic times, where there was settlements, and then the settlements became houses, the house became a fort, and then a castle. That's usually the way the stuff goes down through history. And we find in areas like that energies are stronger. Some of them we go into, you can feel the dirtiness. Mm-hmm. It's like the place is dirty.
Dreadness.
It's dread. It's bad.
In
other places you go into,
the history of it was bad?
Yeah.
Well, we don't know.
Because people say if you go to Auschwitz or to the energy in it is because so much evil's happened in it.
Yeah.
That doesn't always escape.
We get that now. We go into some places and you can feel it, the peacefulness. And it's so calm and relaxing. And then you can go into another place and it's... So when you get those type of feelings, we all get it. It's not just, I'm just having a shit day. I feel crap. I got out of the wrong side of the bed. We go into a place and I say, Richard, and Richard will go, yeah, I'm getting it. You getting it? Yeah. And immediately, this is a bad spot.
Do you know what? I'm looking behind Owen and I'm looking behind Sean. When you're talking about that, Anthony, I'm just seeing your little red brick on your wall. And then straight away I'm thinking about, you ever hear about the stone tape theory?
No.
So basically, we believe too, all these ruins, these castles that are hundreds, maybe some of them are nearly 800-900 years old, that the stone itself has acted like a recording device. It's actually recorded events.
Oh, yes, I see that.
So this is where we're getting back to about residual energy. I mean, I do believe that we are capturing sometimes recordings in past events. I do believe that there is intelligent energy too that can actually interact with you, and we call them earthbound spirits, where they actually are trapped here on the earth. But I do believe that sometimes the stone can play recordings. You remember we had this discussion again about the stone tape theory, and everyone knows about it. I mean,
correct,
everyone in this paranormal world would know about the stone tape theory.
We're all made of energy, and when you die, the energy never dies. Einstein said, "Energy never dies; it just continues." So when you die, when your body, your vessel dies, your energy carries on, and a lot of times that can get imparted into the elements around you. And we'll say the American Indians believed in the Manitou, that your spirits were imparted into the trees and the water and the waves, etc. So we have a belief that we're beginning to come to the conclusion that what we capture and what we see is people's energies trapped, maybe in a purgatory.
Purgatory, that's another thing, yes.
That they haven't gone to heaven or hell or whatever it is people go. I mean, I don't really believe in heaven and hell. Your energy probably just goes off out into space, but some of them get trapped here and don't move. And we kind of believe, myself and Richard have come to the conclusion, and Rowan and the other team members, that what we're capturing is people that are kind of stuck in a sort of a purgatory. Or souls, we should say, not spiritual energy.
It's not heaven and it's not hell.
It's not heaven and it's not hell, and they're trying to communicate, and sometimes we get a glimpse of that. Especially when we do our research and we find out areas like in Duckett's Grove, it was supposed to be the home of the Banshee. So we went down there for that, and we captured imagery down there with the Phasmatron.
Not to mention EVP, aren't they?
And the EVP,
words were clear as day.
Words. And we went to the Lacking Castle.
Right,
and
sorry,
we
I'm going to
captured
stop
the
you a
puka.
second. We just went past something there as in what's EVP?
Electronic voice phenomenon. So we had a Sony or Olympus voice recorder, like for journalists would use little voice recorders. We use those. We don't use apps, as we say, because apps they're just like toys, we call them. So we done a voice recording, an EVP session, and we asked certain questions. The 5 of us there that night, and we were very quiet doing the recording session. We asked a set of questions, then we play it back, and we have connected to a speaker, louder, give us a more clear, crisp sound, and one of the answers just blew our minds away. It just says, "Help! Who's that?" I mean, like, you can't make that up.
So just now that you're
out.
saying that though, so that night that we stayed in Crumlin, I talked to a couple of guards there that night. They were obviously there to supervise us to make sure everything was okay. And they actually, I've got the recording on my phone.
Yeah.
So they said that they put a phone up on top of one of the wings and recorded. And it's like white noise, that noise that you get.
Yeah.
And then
Very staticky.
at about 12 or 13 seconds in, you can hear somebody, "I'm over here."
Yeah.
And I have it on my phone. Now I'll play it, it's no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was just,
It's funny you say white noise too, because they travel.
That's what
They
it sound
use
like.
white noise too. White noise is a good
You shouldn't hear anything. It should
No.
be just silence.
silence.
Well, right. So I
So was that a true one or a false one?
A hold of that
Well, the white noise would have been
EVP,
something.
so we can put it in.
Can I give you my
Oh,
phone?
aye, aye,
Where's
aye.
my phone at?
Oh, look, guys, it's actually on. I have it on video recording here. I have an actual video recording us. I have to get it here. So one
Just
second.
while we're thinking, what sort of questions would we be asking in that? Like, are you here?
Anthony,
Is
you
there
can-
someone with us? Or and I know
6 numbers for the lotto.
I mean, if that's on that recording, I need them before we put this out.
Can I play this here?
Aye.
Right, wait a minute here.
Hold it up to that.
It's
and
about
then-
12 or 13 seconds in.
I hold it up to that and you'll hear it.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, that who is this? Who's
So that was
who's
a
it over
recording.
here? Over
Aye,
over here.
over here.
Oh, yeah, I heard over here at the end.
Yeah.
So that's a recording from Crumlin Road Jail. One of the guys had
left
had
his
set
phone.
his phone up on
Security
record.
guard.
Yeah.
And just left it. And then
It just picked that up.
They picked it up, and then they were listening to it.
Here we go. Right.
Help.
What the fuck was that? My bad, did you?
Lads.
I'm trying to rub some more.
Did you hear it?
To be honest, guys, over the five years, that's probably one of the strongest EVPs we've ever got, I should say.
So, look, listen, and I'm going to play devil's advocate here, and it's not me being smart. Sometimes there's when you're wanting something, you're going to see something. You know, if you're wanting something so bad, you're doing this is something you're passionate in, and obviously a lot of time and investment's been in it. Sometimes I think, and I mean this, and I don't mean, and I'm not being constant. People will say, if you're looking for something, you're going to find it.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not saying that in a trying to dismiss kind of way, but when you hit things like that, it's bound to be rewarding for you guys, freaky at the same time, in the fact that
it's a buzz. It's adrenaline.
Because it's validating. You know, you're like, we know, and we know what we know.
Yeah.
We feel it. But see the feeling side of things. That's what I'm saying. Because you're mostly invested, you might have that feel. And I'm not. And I'm not. This is what you say, because I do believe you when you say, look, we feel something and we're in sync. We're, it's far too often that this happens together, that we have this feeling, so that it's not just you have a feeling, because you want to have the feeling. You're getting the feeling from things. But we were talking there, even that there, we were talking there. Do you ever get like an evil feeling that you want to get out? Like it scares you? Does it scare you? Do you ever get scared?
Anthony, we have to be honest with that, Owen, and Anthony and myself, where this is the night where Anthony got an image in Lackeen Castle. Anthony, you remember the back where his back went and my back went? The pain on our backs, it was like somebody had tasered us. And this, you can't make this up. This was on Facebook Live. So, this was serious. I mean, we don't, as I said, we're not.
Richard had the SLS camera and he was standing to my right, and next thing he goes, take the camera. And I'm going, are you all right? He said something's after giving me an electric shock in my back, and his spine was tingling. Oh, jeez, this guy's gone nuts. So I took it and I was walking around the castle, and the next thing then, I got it. Something attacked me in the back. So, of course, the other member of the team told us to shut the F up. He was in the middle of doing something, and we were trying to explain to him. I said, something's after happening to both of us. And that was probably the worst thing that's happened to.
From a physical perspective?
It was like being somebody stuck you in the back with a taser.
Lower back.
In the lower back. And the whole pins and needles just started flying up your shoulders and out your arms and everything.
That was in Lackeen Castle. We had actually to walk out of the castle. They kind of come down.
And there was several people around that witnessed that, and it's on video as well.
It's on Facebook Live.
It's not. I can't explain it. I don't know why.
Tell me then, is paranormal evil then?
No,
the actual, what we do is not evil. And the paranormal, I mean, this is what I'm saying, there's different levels. You do have
there's good and
bad.
evil.
Good and bad.
Good and bad.
And Sean, and this is where I wanted to say to you, when the work we're doing, we're always coming up with theories too. I remember years ago, like I was an altar boy myself when I was younger, and I'm always believed that you're driven the fear of God, and to be good and all that. If you don't, you go to hell. And then and we're talking about purgatory again, and this is where I want to touch back again. I do believe now, when I'm thinking back on it, that I think this is purgatory. Do you right? This what we're living on is purgatory. This plane, this earth, because what's worse, right? Because I remember a priest trying to explain to us what purgatory is. It's basically. It's like a waiting room between heaven and hell. So it's your day of judgment will come, so for what you've done. As you don't get a clear pass to go to heaven. But I'm thinking it must be horrible if you are trapped here and seeing the people that you know and that you loved and that you were associated with, but they can't see you. And it must be like screaming through a massive thick glass, and they can't hear you, and they can't see you. And I think that's what I'm trying to say. Now, that's why I'm thinking this must be purgatory when you don't move from this world. Your day of judgment. And that's why, these are only theories.
So, ghosts, sad, are they sad energies?
They're sad, and I think...
Sad and
if you're
good,
stuck here,
happy.
surely So,
That's sad.
right.
That's sad.
What's the most connection you've had with one like? When I mean this, as in the higher level of exchange, was there an intelligence exchange, or is it always just
Oh yeah.
like feelings? You didn't have a conversation, or was somebody tapping? Like, I'll
Tapping.
tell you why I say this here. And we were asking you about places you want to go. Me and Sean, big research man. The Queen Mary ship is now permanently docked in California. It is said to be, there's one floor of it for 20 years, didn't they say? It's been locked down because they never said why, but they believe that the room is haunted and they keep the floor. So some of the guys, a lot of paranormal activity guys, have went over to investigate. But they, you'll see us online. It's actually been viewed, like, did we say 5 million times or something? They had a conversation. Well, they didn't have a conversation. They went into the room and they were getting nothing, but they felt like an energy. So they shut everything off and they says, we're just about to leave. And then there was this light knocking, just a light knocking. And they goes, it was from different parts of the room. So it wasn't like somebody out in the hall could hear the questions that they were relaying, that they would knocking would happen above them and then it would happen below them. So that, they're like, it wasn't somebody out in the hall and they were knocking each time we would ask them. So they started going, will you knock more than once for no and knock once for yes? So they started having a conversation, and this is why I mean like in an intelligence exchange, they were starting, are you on your own? No. And then there would be more than one knock, so they weren't known. And the guys were saying that they were trying to trip them up by asking again, is somebody with you? And then the knock would be yes. So they were working in a way that to work out, and there were 30 minutes there of hearing faint knocks. But have you had an exchange like that?
Oh yeah.
That you found out who they were, or more detail on what it was.
Well, we ask questions with with the pendulum,
Right.
and we ask for yes and no answers, and the pendulum reacts.
It's vibrating like mad there.
Have you seen one of these before?
Nope.
You've never seen one of these? Okay, I can give you a
anybody
small.
that's just listening in the car traveling, it's it's not
Probably wouldn't be good to do it.
Spherical.
With electrics. No.
Well, I can probably get
give it a go.
a yes and
Give it
no answer for you anyway. But this is what we would do. We would hold the pendulum out like this,
Right.
and we would ask, my name is Anthony, can I please have your yes answer? So the pendulum is swinging back and forth on its own. That would be the yes answer, and then I would say, okay, thank you, stop. Now, can I have your no answer? So that's
If you're out somewhere and you're asking this, this is going to be.
okay, thank you, stop.
Yep.
So I would ask a series of questions with yes and no answers, and whatever energies. Now, there's obviously energy here, but there's energy everywhere, and everywhere we are in this realm, there are spirits, and some of them will choose to communicate through this and through me. But if you noticed, I wasn't doing that, whatever. So this is what we choose more predominantly than waiting for knocks. And we would also use the EVP by asking questions. And we would play the EVP back. We would wait maybe 5 seconds after each question to give whatever it is there a chance to answer in some shape or form.
What's the stereotypical question?
Hmm?
What's the stereotypical question? What would you ask?
You would ask questions like, is there somebody here? Simple enough. Are you male? Wait 5 seconds. Are you female? Another 5 seconds. Is there many of you here? Did you die here? And so on and so on. You have a list. You can get a list of questions that you can ask. Were you murdered? Did you die naturally? And each time after those questions, you would wait a period of time, like 5 seconds there. Give enough time.
Is there anything that we can do for you? Do you need any help? You ask basically if you
ask, have you been murdered? Have you got a yes to that?
We
so
have,
then
yeah.
you're now being the investigative side. You're like, we'll search murder victims from with round here till find out who we are actually speaking to.
We actually found out. We went to the monk's fishing hole in Kong, where one monk had murdered another monk. And we weren't quite sure what the story was about that, but in the end we found out there was actually 2 guys murdered. Would you like to talk about that, Richard, would you?
No, you go ahead. You remember it, Colin. Go ahead.
So we, seemingly 2 monks fought over, we believe it was a fish, a salmon or something, that they didn't like one another. So one guy killed the other guy, and then it turns out then that somebody killed the guy that killed that guy. So we found out that through questions with the pendulum, that kind of thing, and mediums that were with us, that there was different energies there. There was more than one person killed here.
Like, where does that go when you're having that conversation? Were you murdered? Yes. Do you need help? I would be like, what the fuck is going on here? Genuine, I'm not. Like, it'd be hard to comprehend.
The answer was given with the pendulum. Yes and no, and then there's an indecisive answer which I didn't ask there, and it spins around in a circle. But you saw it there with the yes swinging. It's both ways. The indecisive answer will be the angry answer, which is the one that spins around in the middle. When we get them type of answers, we generally
Walk
the
away.
next question is,
We're finished.
Exactly. Do you want us to be here? And straight away it goes, no. Then we just pack up and immediately go.
But again, Owen and Sean, they're just tools. They're just little tools. They're not.
What would happen if you pushed it? I pushed my luck to see what happened.
No, you don't ever push.
No.
You say your prayers and you use your
protection
sage
prayers.
sticks, your protection prayers. And I have sage here with me. This is
So I don't mean this to sound ignorant. Are you guys religious? You know,
I was religious, but I'm going to be honest. The older I'm getting, I even say to Anthony that your mind kind of opens up. It's not what you think. Well, it's not what you were taught when you were kids. If that makes sense, you know.
these are.
so what have we got in front of us here now?
Red dragon.
This is dragon's blood
Right, okay.
sage.
And what does this
And
do?
this one is just white sage. White sage.
Danny's warm, like, and I know it sounds silly, but to warn off evil spirits or to...
Yeah, after when you're finished an
Cleansing.
investigation, you cleanse yourself with the sage. You light the sage, and everybody gets. But I have these.
So it's similar to, like, in a coffin where the incense and
That's correct. Yeah,
it's very similar.
The incense. Yeah,
Yeah.
Very similar to the turban in a church
Yeah.
with the incense and
Yeah. So obviously religion and spirit and stuff like that's always quite closely linked, and there's always been that, like, people didn't like to talk about this, and if you're quite religious you shouldn't, and superstition's one thing, but does it ever drain you?
Oh, yeah. Listen, and I'm glad you mentioned that. Talk about draining. I believe a couple of years ago, we came up with a name within ourselves anyway, that we woke up the next day and go, how are you all feeling, guys? Whoa, it's like as if it's like a paranormal hangover. And that's the exact way we could explain it, because it was like going out for a night on the session, night on the lash, as we would say. I mean, you feel like as if you're hungover.
physically drained.
Physically, and you're mentally
sleep.
drained. Can't, and you go, probably take about 2 days to actually get yourself pulled back to your normal self. And that's physically, from the physical aspect of it, after doing an investigation. And it depends what sort of location you go to. So, for example, like we said, we go to a location that's quite negative, the more drainer you are the next day and the day after.
What's the strongest spirit you've ever encountered? Was it the one you felt like you could taste? Is that the strongest?
Yeah, that was.
Has to be, because that's from a physical. That was a physical.
That's when the two of us got done.
Has anything happened in front of you, like, like a strong?
Well, we
energy?
captured the puka in Lacking Castle.
Oh, yeah.
We also captured an image in a window which was about 10 foot tall.
What's the puka?
The puka is it's
Explain the puka, Richard. Yeah.
yeah. It's believed that the puka is a fairy shapeshifter, and Lackeen Castle is apparently connected to the puka as he's a protector of the castle. There's history to the castle and the puka. So we went down to Lackeen Castle, done the investigation, and I have a before, which makes it even brilliant, is that I have a before and after picture. Same spot, same location. You couldn't make it up. There he is, looking from the side of the bar, and you can see his next picture. He's gone.
So, is there a consequence in the spiritual world to not poking, but making these contacts? Does that have a knock-on effect? Does that alter things?
Probably does.
You're asking if you can help. Like, has there been ever a time where they've asked for help?
Yeah, look, that EVP, who's there, help.
They do ask for help, but we really, the only help
what
we
help
can
do you
do
think
is
they're looking?
we can just cleanse the place and send them off.
Or get a medium.
Get a medium. We get mediums.
We're
to
not
do
mediums,
that.
you see. We're just researchers, investigators.
You must work close with mediums then.
Oh,
we
yeah,
have,
yeah,
we,
yeah,
we
we
have
have.
our own mediums, yeah.
So this will be harder for people that are more skeptical to understand, but because you are more spiritually aware and you can appreciate, you've appreciated what a medium does, do they fill in gaps for you? Does it make sense sometimes when they come back and say something, you're like, that's what we were getting or we were feeling or that's what that was about? Or do they ever have answers to?
They'd have a lot of their own answers. We'd have a certain amount, myself and Richard, as to what information we'd have gathered in history books, online, etc. Because we do groundwork before we go anywhere. And then we would bring the medium and then they would find out other stuff. And with a combination of both, we can hopefully try and solve whatever problem might be there.
Mm-hmm.
But like Richard said, we're just investigators.
Did you ever see that picture of that puka?
I've seen that.
Little head.
Picking out.
You
Like,
know.
this is the harder part now, as you say, as modern technology comes on, and these are skeptical people. So now I actually genuinely believe there's no point you boys will be at this point in doing that, and the amount of thousands of followers that you have now.
No.
But it was more intriguing to me when you see older photos because the technology wasn't there where there's technology now. But do you feel like, is there people that undermine that they're not doing this and they're full of shit and
100%.
out there doing this?
100%, because we know what you see in TV is definitely, in a way, not a reflection of what it really is. Do you ever notice on TV the shows it goes, this is in brackets?
What do you call your man? Your man.
Jack Baggins.
Is that
The guy with the glasses.
That goes around. No, I don't think he was. I think he was in an ITV show, and he went.
Derek Akora.
Derek
That's
Akora.
him.
He's dead now. He's passed on.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
He obviously and there was a survey of about how many people believe in paranormal activity. So and it was actually quite it astounded me the amount of something tells me that people are. It's like 35. It's a higher number than I would have thought.
Yeah.
You know that
We have, Richard will tell you this now, we have hundreds of thousands of followers, but only a certain amount will actually click and like
That's combining.
and identify themselves. A lot of people are on the fence and they follow our page. And we've often met people and they say, oh God, I follow you lads. And what's your name? And I've never seen you.
aye.
I don't. I just sit back and I watch. The wife's a great follower now. Her name is blah, blah, blah. And then you go, oh yeah, God, she comments on all our stuff, you know. But the husband is also a follower, but he won't
Like the page.
like the
because
page.
They don't want to be connected.
They don't want to be. They're
They
afraid
seem to be
to.
connected.
It's
They're on the fence.
mad.
Well, tell me, even if people want to get involved, how do they get involved? So if you're going to a certain site, it's not just like, come on along, gang, for a bit
We
of
do
crack
events.
tonight.
We do events.
We have
we
advertised
do
events
events. We not very rarely we do events.
Open to all.
Yeah,
Open to all.
Yeah.
Yeah, we opened up, but that's very rarely we do that. We don't
Because we were discussing this, and it was actually Jess that came up with this, and she was like, "Do you do like a nights away to places?"
Yeah.
Yes,
you know,
we do.
like
yeah.
well, that's obviously the event you're talking about, and like a travel agency as such for the paranormal. And I don't mean that. I mean, you obviously, if you want to go to that, you must have that slightly more enlightened idea. You know that you're not going to go to that if you don't believe it.
course.
right? So there's people that come along, they're like-minded, but they're not as informed maybe as you've been. So like the people that want to get in touch and go and have them experiences, like you do that.
Oh, we do. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we obviously will be linking in your page so that people can to go over.
The biggest issue we have is with insurance. We have to have serious insurance.
We do have insurance.
We have insurance, but it's costly.
How do you even make that phone call?
It's very hard.
How you doing? I'm just going off to this castle ruins here, and I found a murderer out the back, a monk out the front. You know what I mean?
And there's a ghost chasing me with a hatchet. Do you cover me for that?
I'm going to ask you this here. I know this might sound like mad out there. Can a ghost kill someone? Can a spirit kill someone?
Do you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know because Battle of Aughrim last year, we were out in the field. And I actually had the physical coat of this here hood, so the back of my coat actually pulled. So that's a physical contact. That's where.
But if someone threw a spoon at you,
that could have been a knife at you. That could have been exactly.
Yeah, poltergeist.
Poltergeist
Activity could kill somebody. Mm-hmm. But if a spirit, an evil entity, was to possess somebody, they could maybe kill somebody that way.
Mm-hmm.
Just now that you've brought that up, though, so what's your views on exorcisms then? The likes of that.
People getting possessed by entities and spirits. Well, we haven't come across that.
We haven't, no.
So I mean, I really can't comment on it. I haven't
Sean,
seen it.
I'm glad you
only
mentioned
from what I've seen in the movies.
I'm glad you mentioned that because it's so funny because this is my argument now too, talking about exorcism and what we do. The church, Catholic Church anyway, doesn't take kindly to what we do. We don't basically go across as believing it, but yet they have a special dedication of people in the Vatican. And spread across the world to deal with people that are possessed by evil spirits. You know, it's kind of condescending, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yet they have people dedicated to remove evil spirits from people, but yet what we do, it's not real. Do you know? It's
yeah.
So where's the balance?
This is what I was talking about in that religion and folklore sometimes intertwined. Sometimes that it's well documented in the Bible that the devil will take an evil spirit. So like it's not completely uncommon of what they're saying, but they're dedicating that till one being or one, but it is a similar thing.
Yeah.
A spirit, an evil spirit, and
good and bad.
And a lot of people,
yin and yang.
A lot of people watching this will be, if they're of the religious mind, will be like, this is devil's work. And you've heard that saying before. That
we get that.
This is devil's work, or black magic's the work of the devil, and things like that.
See,
the problem
we're investigating that. We're not actually practicing.
Have you ever debunked something that somebody said? Have you ever went and said?
No, we don't. No. We don't debunk. No. There are people trying to debunk what we do, and we catch them out in it because the stuff we do is all on the night. It's no trick, so it's very easy for us to. They try to debunk us, and then we just hit back, and it's
because why I'm going to play like really devil's advocate here. If I had a castle or I had a hotel, Ballygally Castles or Ballygally is listed in Northern Ireland, one of the most haunted things. It's a great tourism attraction, and people know that you get more people from it. That's why I mean, but Doug, have you ever went to these places and be like, I ain't feeling nothing here?
That's what I mean. Like earlier on, some of these are heavily commercialised.
Yeah.
Remember I was telling you, there's some locations that are just all about that. And we seem to veer off to our own little locations where we found ourselves. Because I do think, there's a lot of
commercialization.
Heavy commercialization.
Type of.
Yeah, adult theme parks as we call them.
We actually were on the mind. We were going to contact. We didn't until Jess had said how far you were coming. Or like, it would have been great to go to one of the local places here when you were up with the equipment, check it out. And it'd been,
we have to come back up, and we haven't been up here.
100%.
Oh, you should.
We'll document it and get it.
We want to come up and do something up here.
We'll probably get somebody other than Aidan to come video it, because the first time we hear something, he's gone.
He's out of here, is he?
The camera's on its side.
Well, Crumlin Road, the tunnel that I'm talking about,
Yeah.
from the prison over to the court.
Yeah.
So they asked for a volunteer to walk down and knock the door to the other side.
No,
I was like, yeah, I'll do it. No problem.
Yeah.
It was pitch black. So I was walking down, but I never spoke a word. Like, I just took off walking, and Aidan was coming behind me, the camera, and all you hear in the cameras,
Sean.
Sean.
Lad, stop. We're near here. Yeah.
Just wait there, Sean, for a couple of seconds. Right, guys.
Fuck this.
Officer Roberts, if you're with us, make contact. Hey, Sean, if you're still with us, get out of the
Sean,
But it
slow
was the
down.
fear
But
in
it
his
was so
voice.
funny. I couldn't hear a thing, and I just went straight to the bottom of this tunnel and just stood, never spoke.
It must have been an infrared camera, was it?
No, he couldn't see me.
no,
he couldn't see you.
I couldn't see
No, he could
anything.
see, and
So
that's
he was
what-
walking in the pitch
Oh
black
yeah,
with a
pitch black
camera.
behind me.
He wasn't aware of where this was, but
No.
the problem, that's obviously more commercialized tour, and it Sean knocked the door and somebody knocked back, but I don't know. I'm going to stay skeptical about that one because it leads to
I'm in the Jacks.
It leads to a good tour, when people are thing. But I look, listen, and I said this. If people use the term eerie, that's very clear what you were saying. Eerie is a presence, or you're feeling something. When I went into that hangman's room, there definitely was a sense. Well, I don't know if the noose hanging in the middle of the room,
The hangman's room, yeah.
Yeah.
but there was
You could feel it.
definitely a feeling of something like shit went down here. Obviously,
Yeah.
but it was a feeling that, and
Everybody gets that, you see.
but it's fascinating. I could go on, I could literally continue on asking you different things because I do find it fascinating. I don't know ever seeing mine, maybe not so much, but it would make me. I would love to go to one of them.
Oh, 100%.
If you were going to, I'd
Yeah, I'd
love
love
to
to,
come
yeah.
along.
Love to come up here.
We'd love to
everyone.
have you. Yeah.
And
You're more welcome.
we
For Halloween, guys, do a Halloween event with you. You never know.
we'll do it up here. We'll have to look a bit.
Dress up with a sheet over my head.
We'll have to wear GoPros because, Aidan and Jess will be no good to us at that point. Even through some of the stories here, I could see her pulling her hoodie off further up and hiding. So, for any is listening now, there's a lot of equipment on the table. None of it looks like anything I know. There's like a wee boombox speaker job with a lot of audio cables.
This I have here in my hand is the SLS camera, structured light sensor camera. And what it is, I explained there before, these are tools that we use. They are, I'm sure most of you know the Xbox.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are all Connects. And basically it's a mapping. It maps a room. And, they were connected. They were Connects that get people playing games, interacting. But they're used heavily in paranormal. I could scan this around and I could capture your stick man of you, stick man of Sean and Owen, Jessica, and so.
Would my stick man be bigger than Sean's?
Depends on how creepy it is.
So,
I might buy myself one.
but like I said, all we're doing is these are just tools, and we're not.
I have
Jess
this,
was moving away in case that is like an X-ray job.
We're not like you when you get a stick man when you're in an open area, say in a field, and you get an image of a stick man appearing. Then that's something you need to investigate more. And
Can I
that's
see what way it looks then?
you can look. You can have a look there now. You can just pan that around. Do you want to try and turn the light off?
Oh yes,
This-
see what you mean.
Is it flagging me up?
Oh, I blew.
No, no. Look at the.
so
see, I
you
should,
need to be getting something.
if one of us stand up there, you can probably shine it to the door. You see, we're in a very confined room.
Oh, you see the way you see the outline of it.
But it's here you're looking to see.
Oh yes,
Jesus, right, yes.
Oh yes, stick man.
And it's infrared too. It's a heat. It seeks heat. You can see the heat, maps heat and everything. So it.
We're going to use that, but just so for any of you guys listening here, right, go on ahead, Sean.
It
Search.
may not
There we have it. Let me see.
And they're just tools.
Aidan.
Clearly, guys, we only like I said, that'll be the next stage. Now we will get a camera, and if that came up, we would start taking an image.
So that we obviously can see Aidan there, and that's now shut up. We'll turn the lights back on, so we're back in action.
Yeah,
so
you seen the stick man?
Aye, we seen
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So if you were scanning that, I swear to God, this would freak me out a bit. If I was scanning that round a castle, and the next thing just a body image come out, I'd be like, right, start the van.
That's what we get.
happens.
That's what happens.
Here we have a video. Richard is standing up, and his hand is on somebody.
It's like a wee youre.
I'll just run you by that again.
Just want to see it. Sorry, Jess. Sorry.
Evil man.
That was Kennedy Castle.
How did somebody realize this energy would work through this? Because you're saying this is widely spread use. This isn't like you had the plasmatron.
Yeah.
This was engineered for you, but this is a widely used equipment now. In the
Well, you know the Kinect Xbox where you
Yeah.
stand in front of it and you can
Yeah.
box and play golf. Well, that picks up your energy in a stickman shape,
right.
and then transfers that into the Xbox 360, and you're an avatar
yes,
on the
yes.
television. So when you take it away from the Xbox 360 and you change the software to pick up
But it's pretty advanced.
without an avatar, just you as the stickman, and then you point it around the castle and there's nobody in front of you, and all of a sudden there's an energy of a person there. That's when we...
And have you located an energy on this?
I have. I wanted. This is
Well,
actually.
this obviously we have here. Sorry.
This has actually been a very strong supportive tool at the time in Ross Eerie Friary, where back in January 2022, this had shown us an image at the old arch window. Got a picture, and there it is, clear as day. You can see a spirit of a lady, of a woman. I mean, that's where we caught.
And does that be constantly recording that?
Can
screen?
we just well, it records, but at the moment our memory, we're needing to get a new upgrade for the memory, but it does record everything.
But we have to record it with the phone.
We record it with the phone.
You obviously have a feeling there that this isn't here to harm us, so we're okay.
Mm-hmm.
But how far would you push it? Like, is there lines that you have and you're like, we're not pushing this?
Oh yeah, we would never aggravate anything. We wouldn't. I know there's people that do that.
But there's, I don't know whether that's me or is my mind's twisted, but I would be like, right, well, how you're here to push me. What about me?
Pushing you.
Well,
let's see what you can do.
We often go. We often leave. We just pack up and basically run.
But if I was there looking for them and I was like, I'm not leaving just because you want me to leave.
Yeah, I think Owen wants to have a verbal confrontation with
I
them.
want to see if they windows start banging and
We
shit
don't-
starts going on.
No, we don't
do
ever
that.
entice that.
Don't do that.
No, I know
no.
you're saying that, right? I mean that because there's going to be people
Yeah.
that do that.
Yeah, but you see, Owen, you wouldn't be coming back again. We would.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want some guy hiding in a doorway waiting for us with a hatchet that you can't shoot.
Can you take? And I know this sounds stupid, right? But like we were talking, can you take a souvenir? Like, can you take, or would you ever take something
No,
from it?
never.
No,
Does that
never.
is energy in that?
Oh,
You're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Right. Don't never souvenir. Not a good idea.
No.
Right. Shit.
No way. Never take
Good
anything.
question, Jess.
Yeah.
So we have here, this is a REM pod. This is designed to detect energies that pass by.
So you've quite a few like. How sensitive to the so
Well, the batteries now need to be charged in that because it's been...
so some energy me boys. But there's quite a few. You have quite a few different gadgets, right?
This one is electromagnetic field reader.
It'll go off like mad around here with all the
Yeah, well,
the
with
mics on.
EMF and even the K2 will
yeah.
fluctuate with all this.
Even if we turn that on, that should go off.
That's what I like about this. This has been custom built. You could go around with that style that won't go off the Phasmatron, even though that's a highly charged EMF reader. That physics engineers designed that not to be contaminated with electrics, I should say.
But and also Have the cops fucking bugged us around here? Look, I'm just setting a scene. I'm just setting a scene here. You're in a castle. It's well documented that this is. Just imagine there, you're sitting there, nice quiet, next thing, all this noise starts going off. Does it ever go off all at once, like just a big field of energy?
Yeah, that's gone off.
yeah.
That's gone off together.
has, yeah.
These two here, especially when and these get fluctuations in this, and the SLS goes off too. So this, and the SLS, you have three. And
What is this yoke here?
This is the infrasound.
Turn it on.
And what we do with this, we use it as we've had it adapted now.
Can we turn this off? No.
Yeah, we'll turn that off. There's 2 switches on the bottom.
It's off.
Yeah, we've had that adapted now.
We've had that one specially adapted. This one here. We set this down in an area that we've got, we'd say, activity in. And we use this as a heartbeat to simulate a heartbeat. Now we can increase the heartbeat, the sound of it. Slow it down. So it's trying to connect to somebody's Bluetooth.
It's very fast. Not speed up.
If an energy is passing this, does it grow? Does it increase?
No. Owen, to make it simple terms, basically, we could be having activity and it could be very, very quiet. It goes dead. This is like what to us is like drinking a Red Bull. For them, it's like a charge. We put that out to give a charge. So after we play that for 5 minutes, we tend to see that there's another higher state of activity when in the area itself. It's an actual, like a little bait tool, so it is for us.
We can change the frequencies.
And change frequencies.
Up and down, which are not very audible to the human ear.
Oh yeah, you can go very, very high.
See, that's gone down. Yeah. No, we can go. So we'd let that run for
5 minutes.
5 minutes. And when we do that, like we said, we've had this modified with this box, so it more or less emulates the human heartbeat from a very high, I would say like an animal's ears might hear it, you know. Frequency. So we let that run for 5 minutes or so, and then we use our equipment, and we've got astonishing results after using that.
Apparently you can connect to, well, they say the higher state realm too with this.
So what is a realm? Just basically, lay it out to me in layman's terms. What is a realm?
Well, it's a different level. It's a different dimension.
It's like a Mighty Mac.
What's the Mighty Mac?
Burger.
like a Big Mac. Like a Big Mac.
It's everything with cheese in it. It's
So-
different than here.
It's like a layers. I think that, we live in different dimensions. There's a different dimension. And I think that's another thing I wanted to explain why maybe we're capturing these images. I think sometimes we go through a crossroads, like we hit each other, we cross each other's paths. That's what a realm is. It's a higher up dimension than where we are at the minute. And I believe that's what we're surrounded by.
Different realms.
Different realms.
And are these stuck between these realms, or could we get a ghost from another realm?
Well,
Or-
we'd probably be somebody else's realm,
Right.
you know.
And tell
And
me
to see
this.
you looking at them with those funny things in your head,
I know. And
and me with a hat.
tell me then, have you ever helped send one on over?
Oh yeah, with a medium, with the help of a medium.
With the help of a medium.
We're not qualified to do that. We don't. As I said, it's only a medium or someone who's highly trained in that area can do that.
In what way? Like, what are they? Do you think they're stuck with information, or do they? Or
I think they need to tell a story. I think they need some sort of what's that word?
connection with somebody or something?
They need some sort of reassurance, and we feel that that's what they're here to tell. Pass something on to somebody, to a message to somebody else too. We've noticed that.
Hang on, mediums. I didn't really have. I'm going to be honest with you. It's the same as me. I'm skeptical. It's not that I don't just close these things down.
No, do
I haven't had any real dealings, but it's not my, you know.
Well, there are
But
different.
we did when me and Sean were in a thing in London. I'm going to let Sean tell you the story because I just, still even now, I was sitting there and I was like, Sean was sitting, this woman says, look, you guys are on the podcast. Where do you hear this? And it was a friend, was it, medium, wasn't it?
Yeah, Tracy.
Right. So I'm going to let Sean tell you this because this actually just even.
So Tracy was psychic, you know, medium, whatever you want to call her. But she obviously lives in England. But she had these visions of this young girl being held in a house in America. Clear as day. She could see it all. She could see the house, where it was at, the number of the house and everything else. So she actually contacted the local police in that area. And they went to the house and they found the child. And she was abducted.
She was. So then they wanted to get an extradition order. How was she connected to this?
How was she connected to it? Because they were like, there's no way that you
Would know.
The
would know
details
about
that
this.
she was
the
fit to
details that she was
pass.
fit to give.
Oh, that's crazy.
But it was all over the news in America. And obviously because it happened in America, it wasn't publicised here at all. And that's why nobody really heard about it. But
Well, the
she was
police
sitting
do
beside me
use
telling that
mediums.
story.
Yeah.
And then we didn't go on, we Googled it. And it was true enough. It was in all the papers in America.
Did anything ever happen to her then? They stopped
Nothing.
it?
No.
Nothing
No.
at all.
And you're saying that. Glenn had told us this. He says the police don't like to publicise this, but they use mediums.
Oh, yeah.
They do, yeah.
Yeah.
But I couldn't get my head around, like, and this woman genuinely was conflicted because she was like, if I come forward with the information I know, they're going to be like, how do you know
You
this?
did it.
You know, and especially when it was so strong and the vision was so strong and clear that she was fit to tell the address and the details of the young girl, and the police were like, that's who we're looking, we're going here.
Mhm.
And then have to reverse engineer the investigation as in, how did you know this?
Yeah,
Yes.
It'd be hard to
And the
explain.
murder weapon
wouldn't it?
is-
It'd be hard to explain, like.
It is
But-
very hard, yeah.
Have you ever had such a when you were getting information from a spirit, a secret that was lost for hundreds of years, that's something that you've now been told and you're like, shit, that's been shared with us, or no? Not, you know the way you were saying about the monk, it's been shared with us, we started getting.
Not really, Richard.
Well, we got the image in Lep Castle, and we believe that, and in that message we got through.
Oh, yeah,
the medium,
Thaddeus, yeah.
Thaddeus, the two brothers, Tig and Thaddeus, isn't it?
Yeah.
The priest basically got stabbed by his brother in the bloody chapel in Lep Castle, and what we believe was that it showed the image, and the medium itself felt that it was the two brothers it's the two brothers upstairs that are connected to this activity, and we got that image to backed up what she was trying to say, because it's like remember I was telling you about that green image. I captured that green image. I've captured that image in green too, so that's why it backed me up more in believing what I saw when I was seeing when I was
We
back.
actually, do you know
What?
we captured an image of the Grey Lady, but it was green. And it turns out that when we investigated the story,
Who's
it
the Grey
wasn't the
Lady?
Grey Lady. It was the Green Lady. That was the legend from start. Do you remember that, Richard?
Oh yeah, the Scotia Bar.
And Richard found that out. I went into the Scotia Bar for a pint just to watch a
Glasgow.
match in Glasgow. It's the oldest bar in Glasgow. And I got this feeling the whole time to look behind two parasols that were beside me. So I pulled back the two parasols, and I'd only drank one sup out of the pint. And I looked at the chalkboard. Welcome to the Scotia Bar. I have it on the phone here. I'll show you. The home of the Grey Lady, blah, 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 blah. And I said, oh, God, there's a ghost in here. So I started taking pictures, and I captured it. And it was green. And I went up to the bar, and I showed them in the bar, and they were all crazy excited. Oh, my God, we've had paranormal groups all over Scotland, and nobody's caught anything. I said, I just got it down there, and I gave her the card. So in a short period of time, it was all over the newspapers, and it was on there and explained with Howard Hughes in London. And Richard started doing a bit of investigating, because we did an article. And he said, Anthony, you're not going to believe this. It's not the Grey Lady, it's the Green Lady.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a message coming through to us to clarify the fact that it's actually the story of the Grey Lady was wrong all along. It was the Green Lady.
Mm-hmm.
Smoke, water and light is a great way for energies to transmogrify and manifest themselves into our realm so we can see them. So when we take the pictures, generally a lot of the stuff is through smoke or water or in different coloured light shapes that you can see these images we get in. Like, for instance, that guy in the castle, in the attic, he was in the dark shaded area. And he wasn't as visible as he was there until we brightened it up. Then you could really see him. But you won't just see it, we'll say, standing in the middle of the room, that kind of a thing. We haven't captured anything like that. So, but the grey lady one, you can see within 3 minutes, she's there 1 minute. The green lady, she's there 1 minute, and she's gone the next minute. And you can see the time frame in the photographs. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bang, she's in the middle. And she's not in the other ones. So it's just a momentary appearance. And I managed to capture it, you know. So I can show you that in the phone now if you want to see that. And you can see the time scales in it. But again, certain people can look at a photograph and they see nothing. Or they can vaguely see something. Other people are more in tune, and when they look at a photograph, they go, oh my God, I see that immediately. And myself and Richard's eyes and the rest of the team, our eyes are very tuned into that. So when I turn around, do you see that? Oh yeah, see that? Yeah, we see that. But when you show it to somebody that isn't as in tune as we are, some will see it and others won't. And then the people that do eventually see it, they can't unsee it then. And they'll say, how come I didn't see that in the beginning? It's because their eyes or their brain wasn't on the same wavelength as...
See, I need to see it. I need it bang right in front of me.
I'm not going to lie. I don't think I'm a skeptic anymore.
Are you in, Sean?
I'm in.
We are, the next night we're there. But what?
Do you want to see this?
Story, yeah, of course you do. The woman in the green shawl. You ever seen that one? The Americans come over and they took a picture and they went home and they developed the picture. It was an old picture. And there was the wee old woman with the green shawl. And then, where was this at? Because I was reading this because we were obviously doing the research for here. And I actually thought it was cool because like 20 years later, another group come back and they says out in the field they could see this woman come and walking in. So they went, there was an older style house. So when they went to walk out to greet her, it wasn't there. I was like, there was nowhere to go. You know, you could see her coming in and she had a shawl. But the picture's online. But I must actually bring it up. But I was like, I freaked me out a wee bit. Because there were separate people saying they'd seen the same, but it was 20 years apart. You know. It's a long time to be hanging about there.
Where parts of where was that?
It's here in Ireland. And then a lot of it was an American tourist come over and shot it. And that was the picture. And they were completely skeptical, but they were like, there was nobody there when we took the picture, but the picture was very, very clear.
Okay. So here we have these two parasols were blocking that chalkboard. Now, if you look at the time frame up there, it's 1843.
Yeah.
Okay. So I took this picture.
Only says folklore, doesn't it?
Now, if you see on the wall there, do you see that green light?
I see. It's just the way you have it done. Yeah.
Right. There's nothing in there, just a green blob.
Yeah.
So I'll move on to the next picture, and I just show you that's. Go down out of it. That's 1843.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I'm gone around the room taking pictures, and then I'm back here, 1847.
Let me see. It's just the light channel.
Can you see a woman
Like a face?
A face?
with her head turned sideways?
Like a big smile.
with a
She's
shawl?
smiling.
Yeah.
Yeah, smiling. She's actually smiling.
There's bound to be a history. You're bound to be a history buff, and if you enjoy the paranormal side, because they're not just all of a sudden here. Like you always get the feeling that, like, and I don't know if that's me, they're not modern spirits. They're hundreds of years old. At these, like, you don't, like, you're talking about. You know, we ask questions if they're male and female. In 20 years' time, the pendulum might be spinning around in a circle. Because I'll not be fucking sure what they are. But like...
True. That's true, Owen.
You get a feeling that they're from, like... we're going into different waters here, but you know what I mean? Like,
Oh, yeah.
we get a feeling like they're hundreds of years of energy. None of it's like, none of it's like, oh, your man's away 3 years there, and
Yeah, we've found that, and Richard will back me up on this one, that the older the person or the energy, the stronger the image. We never seem to get any
Recent
punk rockers or
no.
like that with spiked hair, that kind of stuff. The energy seems to be, maybe they're just draining batteries for decades, and just getting getting stronger and stronger, or energies, whatever way they do it. But they always seem to be old stories and old legends and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we've never seen. Well, saying that, I've got a little picture of a little child, but again, it's not modern. Not modern times.
Why is it a child ghost would fucking freak me out 10 times more than an adult ghost? And like, children are innocent. Do you know what I'm saying? If like a wee child ghost appeared and gone, like, and they're probably more harmless than an adult. Like, you can't see why a child's innocent.
They seem to be more inquisitive. You see child ghosts. We have captured a few of them in Duckett's Grove and in the old Ennis Asylum.
This is the 43-year-old midget. I thought you were a child.
43-year-old midget.
My mind is like, I'm all joking aside.
Are you still?
I'm going to be honest with you. Nothing. I haven't experienced anything that's been like, But I don't be closed off to the idea that I'm wrong. And
I think it'd be different if we went with yous. And
if somebody said, help me, and I'm there.
Yeah.
And like, you're like, we'll go to this castle, come along, and the next thing we start to experience it for ourselves.
But why
Yeah,
is it?
I think if
I had
you
no
did that,
problem
yeah.
going to Crumlin, spend the night in a jail, knowing people were killed there, 100%. But if I'm heading out with these guys and heartbeats start going off, vaping starts happening, shit going down, I might be doing an Aiden. I might do an Aiden and get out. But I actually really want to do that, and I'd look forward to that. So if there is something, you let me and Sean know, and we will come down for an evening, and
Or we can come up, it's up, whatever's easy.
Yeah.
I 100%, and we'll put you up, and we'll go somewhere, and then we'll get a look. But I've really enjoyed it, guys. And you know what I enjoyed more? I worry that before you come, we get preconceived ideas. Just because me and Sean don't believe the same thing that you don't, it doesn't mean that we don't want people that do believe in different things coming on, telling us, and we're interested, because we're fully engrossed in it.
Yeah.
Some of it for me, boys, isn't for me, and that's
No,
me
that's
just being
respect.
thing.
We had to respect
But
that one.
if we went to that and somebody started saying help me, and I was there, it's going to be, I'm
If you
going to be
witnessed
like,
it.
this is harder. This is harder for me to. But I always think there's more till here than we all know. I'm not massively tapped into it, but I think certain things have happened, and there's certain things that happen that can't be reasonably explained. I
That's a
always
start,
thought that.
That's a start.
And I always thought this thing. Some of it now, I'm going to be honest with you, some of it I'd be like, not 100%. But I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed the part.
It's the same as that old saying, something happens to you and you just get away with a fluke or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody's watching over you.
Yeah.
You know that old thing?
Oh, yeah.
And like I say it all my time, my granny, God rest her, there's things that have happened to me, and straight away I've just been like, it's my granny.
She's looking
at
you.
aye. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's something like that
Well,
out there.
I'm going to tell you, there's two things that popped in my head as you say that, Sean. People looking out for you, right? I remember I had only passed my test, and I was driving like an absolute asshole. And I was flat out in a car that shouldn't have went flat out, an old diesel Rover. And I was heading out to the part of Kildress, I'll never forget this. And the guy to the left sold pallets, right? You would never be looking to the left. There's nothing there. It's an old yard, it's just there. And I was coming flat out, and I was heading up this road. And I mean, it was flat. When I say flat out, the car would have probably only done about 85 miles an hour. But I was going as hard as the car could go.
Yeah.
And I probably, I know I could not have stopped. All of a sudden, I swear to God, when I say this here, it was like the fucking windscreen lit up, and I just, out of the peripheral of my vision, and you wouldn't be looking here. It's only when the light sort of like on the screen, I looked like sunlight had come real strong on the thing, and I looked, and I just seen this wee blonde head, and I swear, even now my hair's done, this wee blonde head, about 3 rows of the pallets up, was coming running. I could just see it. And I got on the brakes, and I just got stopped. and no more. And the wee child ran out, and the dad was 2 feet behind it. To grab it. And I was like, well, whatever the fuck blinded me to look
Something
left.
told you.
And I was like,
Something
I always
told you to
walked
do
away
that,
from
yeah.
that day saying somebody was looking for me or was looking out for the child.
Yeah.
That I wouldn't have looked there. I've went that road 100
Yeah,
times,
yeah.
and I looked there, and I was like, holy shit, something happened.
We have a section that we call UPI, which is unidentified paranormal images, because there's some stuff we can't identify.
Or we can't explain.
We can't explain. Even we can't put it up on the page
Yeah.
and say that this is blah, blah, blah. So we invented this UPI, unidentified paranormal image. And we're building up a portfolio now of stuff like that to put it up on the website. Because there is stuff, even as paranormal investigators, that we just can't
explain.
Can't explain it.
Well, Sean, what about what we were discussing earlier, that Sunday evening? There was one Sunday evening, me and Sean, this was 15 years ago, and we had, we decided we weren't going to go out that night. And I says, shall we go for a lap? And the thing that you used to do in Cookstown was you used to head down Cookstown Main Street. The Glenavon was on a Sunday night, so there'd been a bit of crack around it. You would have headed around and you go back. But me and Sean pulled in. Sean is wild, and like he would notice things. If something was out of place or something changed, he would notice. He's very like perceptive of things. And he goes to me, look at that there. I was like, look at what? And it was an X5 Jeep. Back then, like 15 years ago, they were only out. They were only new, a big fancy Jeep. Pulled in. And there was nobody up in the top of the car park. And he goes, why is that air freshener moving like that? The fucking air freshener was bending back and forth. I says there.
In the car. The car was parked, stopped.
Must have left it running.
Nobody in it.
Mm-hmm. So he goes, drive over there. There's no way that's run. So I says, right. So we drove over. And this story twists a bit more. As we drove over, we went over and looked at it. It wasn't run. There was nothing on. It was all closed. And the
air freshener inside the car
was bouncing about.
Spinning.
Then 2 minutes later, the car come in, an old Sierra, no exhaust, half off it, and the way they were driving, they were trying to diff it, and the car didn't have enough power to diff, and they were blah blah blah. And I turned to him and I says, "What was it I said to you?"
You just turn around and says, "Them boys will be killed in that car tonight."
They'll be killed in that car tonight.
Yeah.
Sean's a fireman, and I speak to him the next day, and he says, "You're not wrong." I said, "What do you mean not wrong?" He's got a call last night. Attended. It was the car me and you seen. There was a guy dead in it.
Flipping heck.
Guy died in the crash. It was upside down. You could see that half the exhaust was missing. And me and him were talking after it, and I was like, it's fucking weird. Like, I'm not pulling these together.
The air freshener was doing the...
I don't know. I don't know what they was doing, but it's sort of...
replicating what was going to happen. They're doing, that's... Well, not replicating, but that's related to them. That's related to them, I should say.
But it was just...
But to be honest, we were talking about that this morning. That never come into my head. That was just a wee story we always told about the air freshener.
But only we would have told our ones, but we were the only two there. Like, and like even the fact that
something
they'll be killed in that tonight.
But that's your sixth sense kicking into you. You have sixth sense
to let you know that this was bad.
If I ever see a fucking air freshener moving like that again, but it's Sean that's seen it, I think, and there are things that I says to you that we can't always explain everything, and like there was no explanation of all that there, but
we're trying.
Yeah, you're so trying, but boys, I first and foremost for coming all the way up here, I have to say thank you, but I've enjoyed it.
Oh, so much.
I've enjoyed it. I'm going to be completely honest. Not all of it I'll take away and be like, yeah, I agree with that. But I've enjoyed it, and like I enjoy asking these questions because I'm nosy and I want to grow. I want to hear different points of view, and I hope other people have enjoyed it too. And I hope you boys enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, it was great to come up here and to share our experiences with you guys. I really do appreciate that.
Great to get two nutters listening to us.
Ian and Jess.
We finally found them.
Guys, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.